Welcome to the Ronni Resonance Podcast, a space for women in transition, becoming, and rebirth. I'm Ronni, an intuitive guide, mentor, and multi-dimensional human learning right alongside you. Here we explore identity shifts, intuition, alignment, purpose, and the deeper truths you've been feeling but maybe haven't said out loud yet. This is where you return to yourself, gently, honestly, and with resonance. Take a breath. You're exactly where you're meant to be.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ronni Resonance Podcast. This episode is going to be a little bit different from some of my previous and recent podcasts. This is going to be more of like a touch base type episode because I really want to share some updates with you guys that I really haven't shared, I think, in a video, but I have shared with like my regular clients or like my email list. So I just haven't publicly talked about this yet. And I just wanted to sit down and explain what's been changing with me, what's staying the same, and what's coming next in my life. Aside from just calling this like an update episode, this really isn't just an update. So I will say that this is like a closing of one chapter and the beginning of another. So for a lot of you, it might have looked like, especially online, that I was stepping into this new thing and almost like I've been in between these two chapters for a while now. And one of those chapters has been part of my life for over a decade. And the next chapter really is still taking shape, but basically, I've been in this integration period when it comes to my identity and how my life is changing. And I see myself in the next month really stepping into more of the new identity and the old identity completely falling behind. So as I kind of tie up these loose ends from this previous identity, I really don't have every little single detail figured out yet because like I said, this is still taking shape, but I really trust where this is leading. As you have probably noticed, I've been really just allowing myself to step into the work that I've been really slowly growing into for years. Before I really get into this new identity, this new thing that I'm doing, I really want to kind of talk about just the last 15 years as an esthetician. I just got my license I became licensed in January of 2012, which is crazy to think about. And so since then, I've really been in this like the beauty, wellness, aesthetic industry. And so during that time, I have spent my time really building, then I rebuilt and then built and rebuilt over and over and over again. And what ended up evolving into True Indigo through these different seasons that I've had and really getting to the point of like what it is that I do want and what I want my business to represent. In my business, the spa and the treatment room have been huge parts of my life and my growth. I've talked a lot recently just about like, stepping out of something and looking back and thinking, okay, what did that teach me? It wasn't for nothing. And I think there comes a time when we start to change and evolve and we start thinking, was that for nothing? Like, I'm leaving this behind. I'm stepping into something different. But truly, I don't feel that it was for nothing. I have gone through so many rebirths through this time. And I think that has given me the biggest lessons of my life. It's honestly crazy when I really think about it. Just all of the ups and downs that I've been through during that time. And in the moment you think, oh my God, this is horrible. Like, why me? Why do I have to go through this? But you later realize through the wisdom that you gain through, everything that you went through, that it was for something and it meant something. And I think the biggest thing that I need to talk about when it comes to like the spa and the treatment room chapter of my career is the relationships that I built with my clients. Oh my God. Hold on. I was not sure if I was going to get emotional for that. I have built such deep relationships with all of my clients. There's people that have come and gone. People have maybe I haven't seen in 5 years and then showed up again in my treatment room. When I look back where I started, I was 18. Oh, okay. I was 18 when I started, and I thought I was so grown. I thought I had life figured out, had just been in my first year of experiencing not, just of independence, and I started booth renting at that time. And I think that I just didn't realize everything that was going to come of everything. And I think the relationships are so important to me because of who I was at 18 and who I am now. At 18, I thought, oh, this is going to be so great. The best career I've picked because I can get started early. I talked about this last episode, I think, but I thought I had everything figured out. And the one thing that was pretty major with becoming an esthetician and the reason that, not the main reason, but one of the very big reasons that I became an esthetician was I was so painfully shy, uncomfortable with social situations. And I felt that aesthetics was so great because I could be one-on-one with my client, and that felt safe to me. That felt more comfortable and less exposing. I think if I were working with groups of people or whatever, I felt I'm either alone working or I'm with my client. And the funniest thing about it is that I didn't realize that these relationships with my clients were going to be some of the biggest growth that I've had in my career, or in my life, I should say. Simply connecting with people, simply them trusting me, the trust that they placed in me, with their skin, their lives, their stories, their just their personal things that they were going through. That slowly, I think, started to pull me out of my shell and started to give me kind of like a place to start interacting with people from a safe place and almost practicing coming out of my shell and being able to form these relationships and talk to people and all of those things. And so I don't know if clients really knew like what they were giving me and how they were helping me. All while I just thought I was helping them. So I just want to say thank you to all the clients who've supported me, even if you're not coming into the spa right now or haven't been able to in a while, or I know that everybody has their life stuff going on, and so do I, and my life is changing majorly. I got married in September. My husband and I are talking about starting to try for children coming up. So, it's not just the identity shift that I'm in, and that shift, my life is just changing and I'm in a new chapter. And so with all of that being said, some of you know, some of you don't know, but I am closing my in-spa treatment room spa chapter in that part of my business. And if you've watched my videos, if you watched me truly show you what I've been through in the last years, but in the last year of me sharing my story and really being vulnerable and honest and open about where I am in my life and just how I feel and the changes that are going on. You would know that this was not an easy decision and it was not made overnight. This decision is not because my work in the treatment room didn't matter. It actually mattered extremely deeply to me. Like I said, I think the last 15 years I've really focused on everybody else and really putting myself on the back burner and thinking like, oh, I'm helping these people. I'm helping them so much. And that's what I want to do. And whether it is their skin, it is advice, a listening ear, whatever it is, like that I thought was me helping my client. And like I said, I think that I don't think that people understand how much this has helped me. And as much as it has been a roller coaster, let me tell you, it's been a roller coaster being a spa owner, and it's not easy. But that taught me the biggest lessons of my life. So when they say do the hard thing, do the hard thing. And I think that's why it could be like so easy for people to think, oh, keep doing it then. This is what you need to do. This is your thing. This is what you're good at. But I think when we do the hardest things in our lives, it teaches us the most. And when you allow yourself to go through hard things, like you just are like, rip off the Band-Aid, you're like, okay, we're doing it, you know? You get to a point in the process where you are like, have this awareness that you're like, okay, this chapter's done. I have to listen to that and move on to the next thing and understand what that's taught me. And so I'm so grateful for my clients, so grateful for all of the hard things that I've had to go through. Every struggle, every breakdown, every time I felt I wasn't going to be able to get back up. And I did it every time. And I continue to do it. So, shit, guys. I was not expecting to cry this much, honestly. I was like, today's the day. I'm going to do the video and it's going to be fine. And I'm like, whoa. Was not expecting to have this. But if you've been watching, the last few days have been emotional for me anyway. So it's just where we are right now. But wrapping this part of this video up, because I have more to say about other things and I need to get my shit together. You know, I just want to say thank you for trusting me with your skin, your vulnerability, the emotions that we've shared, going through different life changes together, and just being that sounding board for each other. There's been times where, you know, my clients have really been there for me and I didn't even ask. They cared about me in the way that I care about them. But through all of the hard times, there's been so many amazing times with my clients through, this past year I had maybe like 4 or 5 clients give birth, have babies, just marriages, growth in careers through relationships, women who struggled to find love, finding love, sharing that with them. I think one of the most, I have to say this because it's been one of the most impactful parts of my career, but women, y'all go through it, but you are tough. And if you know me, all of my clients have been women. I get a sprinkle of men here and there, but women. And it's just shown me the shit that we go through, how powerful we are, how we lean on each other to get through things. And I don't know, I think that's been the biggest thing for me is I have a bigger appreciation for women and the shit that we go through. And I have seen countless stories of women dealing with men. There's times in a facial where you are thinking you're just their esthetician and going through it, and you don't know they're going through it, but the questions they're asking you and the advice that you give them, you just never know like what people are going through. I mean, I'm just so grateful. There's so many things I feel like I could say. I feel like my mind is just so whatever right now, but I guess all of that being said, this chapter has shaped me, who I am today, everything. And I'm just so deeply grateful for it. I really am. I don't even know how to fully express it, but I just am. And I just feel like that's extremely important for me to say. And okay, moving on from that part. So the next thing I'm about is like, what's next? Because I know a lot of people, you have an idea of a person and who they are and what they do, and then things change, and it is weird for people to adapt to that and understand that. And so I want to talk about that. But I think some people hear closing my spa and they think that I'm walking away from just everything, and that I'm closing my business, I'm just done. And I really don't see I see this more as an expansion, and I really feel like that's necessary to say, because I don't want people to think that like, oh, she just gave up and she's just closing her spa. That's not what's happening. Everything that I've done for the last 15 years led me here, like I said, taught me a lot, got me to this point. I am not just throwing away aesthetics or skincare or like the wellness work that I do. I'm really building on top of that. So what I'm trying to say is that True Indigo as a business is not ending. True Indigo is evolving. So how this is evolving is the treatment room really showed me that I think people need more than this surface level support. Clients were often coming to me for skincare, but I just, like I said, felt like the conversations went a lot deeper than just performing a facial on someone. And trust me, I offer silent appointments. I allow people to not talk if they don't want to, but the amount of people that are in a quiet room and feel comfortable and feel calm and relaxed, they feel safe to open up. And sometimes that is the moment that they do that. Even when you think that, oh, they might want to be quiet. I've always gone based off of what my client was projecting and what they wanted. And I just learned that people need clarity. They need permission to feel the way that they feel. They need validation about the way that they feel. They need more self-trust and grounding, to be good within themselves, and just this safe space to be seen, which I feel was very much provided as an esthetician. And a lot of the skin concerns that I was dealing with my clients were often connected to their stress in their life, maybe an identity issue that they no longer identified with anymore, having a lack of confidence. Maybe they were going through a certain life season that was causing issues for their skin. There's different emotions, just how people were caring for themselves. And I felt like a lot of the time people already knew what they needed when they would ask a question or just talk about something. But I think that they needed the help in hearing themselves. It's almost like they needed to say it out loud to someone who was willing to listen and provided the safe space for that to happen. Over the years, I started to learn that and realize that my work was really, it wasn't just about skin. It was really about helping people reconnect with themselves. I think that's something that I've noticed in the beauty industry is it has completely disconnected people from themselves, wanting to change everything about themselves. And so it does hurt other parts of the industry, of people who are trying to help and come from a holistic place, or understand what's going on internally, and not just putting a Band-Aid on the situation. And I think some of that, isn't just a skin problem. I think it is, like I said, an internal issue causing skin issues that I'm seeing 9 times out of 10. That's what the problem is. So I think what started happening for me was we were having not just small talk, we were getting into deep things and really connecting on that deep level. So it was really about, to me, over time, helping people understand themselves better and helping people really make these aligned decisions and really staying true to themselves. And I feel like a lot of people we have so much chatter and noise in our ear all the time from everybody around us. And so I think that sometimes when you're with someone like a stranger, like if it were your therapist or whatever, it's a lot easier to talk about these things because they're not actively in your life. They're just kind of like a third party. And so I realized like that's kind of what my business was becoming, was not just, like I said, treating clients and working on them and whatnot. All this time for years, my work already officially name what that was, because there's a lot of parameters, there's a lot of things, I have a license in aesthetics, but I don't have this, I don't have that. So it was like, I don't even know what this is, but this is part of my business. But if you know me, I'm ADHD, and it has become hard to hold that space for people while actively physically doing a service at the same time and giving people that attention. And it started to kind of make me wonder, like, well, what do you like to do more? Because I think at some point we need to get to a place that is one or the other. That is one that you feel more aligned with right now in this season of life compared to where you've been. Let's talk about what True Indigo is becoming a space for now. Now, True Indigo is not going to be a physical location. There's not going to be necessarily a place you're going to go for right now. There are some things in the works that may happen, but I'm not sure. So for right now, it's very virtual. There might be some group in-person experiences that I put together that would allow just a little more like in-person access to me. But right now, True Indigo is about alignment. I do alignment readings. It's about helping women with their self-trust, identity shifts. We work on integration and integrating into that new identity. It's about helping women strengthen their inner authority and trusting their intuition, having nervous system awareness and understanding when they're out of balance with that and how to get themselves back into balance in their nervous system. It's still about holistic skin support, because a lot of the time the skin is a window into what's going on internally. And so sometimes what shows up on the skin is something going on internally. It could be whatever, but then also it's caused by something that's out of alignment in the way you're living your life. So they're all interconnected. And so I still will be offering holistic skin support on a virtual level. I've got routines, I've got products, I've got all the things to help you easily decide what's best for you and offer body and skin, face and body insight sessions. I'm like, what is my brain doing? That are going to be more like, it's like a consultation, but it's more of a holistic approach. So we're going a little bit deeper. We're looking at lifestyle. I'm not just being like, well, it looks like you have, just because I'm, looking at your skin. We're literally going down the list of things, of all the things that could be affecting your skin. So, True Indigo is also about helping women find their purpose, stepping more into their purpose, having that personal growth through the inner work and healing, personal healing, and then also helping people with business and brand alignment. You do not have to be a spa professional, esthetician, stylist, whatever, to get support from me. I think that a lot of time business and brand support, it's not from me. It's not what I think you should do. It's really going inward and looking at yourself and what do you align with when it comes to your brand and the type of clientele you want to attract and all of those things. That is what I'm working on with people. So I'm not telling you how to run your business or telling you how to live your life or any of those things. I'm simply being a guide and guiding people onto the path that is truest for them. And the only way to do that is to help you go inward. And, there's lots of ways that we do that. Like I said, through alignment readings, integration sessions of integrating what we know is true now, all the things. So what I was watching a video earlier, and it was a woman doing tarot, and she was channeling spirit, and she was talking about how stepping into your light and being that guide. And I think that that's what True Indigo is that, for a while I was kind of just like the facilitator, the service provider, doing whatever. And now I'm really stepping into my position as a guide, as a healer, and not necessarily having to do the physical work in order to do that. It's simply just being a guide, being a mentor. And so that's really what True Indigo has evolved into, where it's not just, let me give you a facial. Now it's like, no, we're going to go deep. We're going to talk about these things. We're going to really work on you so that you know what's true for you, what resonates with you. Strengthen your trust with yourself and your confidence and your inner authority around said thing. And let's integrate into that version of you. And that's really, like I said, what True Indigo is all about now. When it comes to also going back to the business and brand alignment support, I will be doing some spa consulting over the next 6 months. I don't know where all that's going to go after the fact, but I am working with a women's wellness club where I will be helping them integrate their spa into their whole business model. And so I'll be busy with that, but like I said, I'll still be doing my own business and working on the alignment readings, integration sessions, holistic skin consult, business and brand alignment support. I also plan in this women's wellness club potentially doing workshops and like group experiences there. I'm not going to share much more information on that right now because I want everything to kind of fall into place the way that it needs to. But for now, the best place to connect with me is online. But the Becoming Sanctuary is where most of the work with what I do is held. So within the sanctuary, there's 3 different tiers you can join for free. And there is like a free course in there to tell you where you are in your awakening journey, and how to move forward and how to have that awareness to gain clarity around your situation. So after that, you can watch some of my public podcasts or some other like free tools in there to help you with the inner work and just strengthen your inner authority and all of that, and kind of start the awareness process of waking up to what could need to change in your life, or what you have been feeling maybe underlying needs to change, but it's kind of coming up for you and you want to work on that. That is helpful. And then I also have 2 other hubs. One being the alignment hub, where I'll get to that in a little bit. That stems from a new course that I'm working on. And then I have the VIP like mentorship embodiment hub, where I really help you actually step into embodying the real higher version of yourself, the real person that you truly feel in your core and that you really want to be and want to step into. And so there is group mentorship and so many more tools in the embodiment mentorship hub. So there's different tiers depending on where you are in your journey and where what you're ready to like dip your foot into or your toe into, or if you want to dive right into mentorship. So I've put these together because I've got other things in the works. So I will get to that in a second. But, all of these things on the surface, they may look very different from what I've been doing the last 15 years, but truly underneath, they are all connected by alignment. My goal as a guide and as a mentor is really helping people connect with what resonates. If you can connect with what resonates with you and you follow that path only, you will be surprised at the other things that begin to fall into place in your life and the healing that begins to take place around that. Staying true to yourself is like the best medicine that you can give yourself. And so that is what I am now leading people, helping, guiding them through that process. So it's not therapy. I'm not going to sit here and like listen to all your problems and give you advice like that. But, we're going to see like what no longer fits for you anymore. What have you realized that you just don't love anymore? Let's think about that for a second. What has it taught you? And then going into, okay, now that we understand what we don't want, what do we want? And then how do we strengthen our confidence around that thing we do want to actually pursue it? Because there's a reason you're not pursuing it, because you're not confident in it yet. And so then after that, you got to really integrate that. And so that's really what I am doing. And that's what it's evolved into. I mean, over the years, I've really watched people have breakthroughs and these moments of awareness. But I think that awareness alone isn't always enough. I think it's like your entry point. It's where you start to question things, but it's not really where things just completely change. Because people, they often realize something, but then they just don't know what to do with that, right? Like I said, you may not have the confidence around that thing that you actually want to be doing, or you have society and other people around you telling you how to feel about that. The biggest issue is that, there's one thing to be aware and know something, but you really have to be able to integrate it and trust it and to move differently after you have that awareness and like change behaviors, change your life. And it's extremely hard. And sometimes people just don't know how to navigate it on their own. And again, I think it's important to say that I'm not here to give you the answers. It's really up to you to decide, but I'm helping you navigate the process. And I wish I would have had someone help me. And so that's why I wanted to be the person, because I did it alone. I went through therapy. I got a ton of self-discovery in therapy and realized that, hey, anybody can do this. You don't have to go to therapy to discover who you really are. It's just knowing what tools to use and have. And so that is, what I share in the Becoming Sanctuary now is things that I've learned, and put together different things that will help people integrate, but also just navigate through that. So it's a smooth process and not necessarily like ups and downs and crazy, whatever. Like, okay, we're here. Let's start here. And we're going to work each day on something else that's going to get us closer to what that is that we want to have in our life. So that's where I wanted to get to. I told you I'd get to this. But when it comes to the Alignment Hub inside the Sanctuary, the Alignment Hub is really for the people who have completed the True Indigo method. The True Indigo method was born from really me wanting to create a framework for my own process that I went through. Because I went through a process, but I didn't realize that I didn't realize what I was doing in that moment. I was just doing what I thought I needed to do. And then when I look back on it, I'm like, there's a process here that I went through that I can really share with other people on how I, recognized that it was time to shift my identity, my career, my everything, and how I did that. And so that's what I am working on right now is the True Indigo method, which is, like I said, helping people see or having a process to work through each time. You can use it for various seasons of life, different things, whether it's leaving a relationship, changing career, starting a business, having children, issues you're having with a family member, whatever it is. Like, you can use this framework over and over and over again for all of these things in your life. The point of the method is to help people move from being aware of what needs to change into the actual alignment, into that, the thing that really feels more in alignment for that person. So this is the main thing that I've been building behind the scenes. It really brings together my years of experience in aesthetics, business, intuition, my identity work, my nervous system awareness, personal growth, spirituality, purpose, and alignment. This is becoming really the framework underneath everything that I do. So that being said, this is nearing completion. And so I'm kind of getting into the brunt of the work, I would say, over this next month. So over the next month, I'm going to be recording a lot of videos, trainings, and creating different resources for this method. So this is going to be a lot of time and energy going into it over the next month. The point of building this really is to build something that gives structure to the work that I've already been doing naturally, because I'm sure a lot of you see stuff online about things I'm talking about, and I'm reminiscing on my own life and things that I've been through and things that I've learned and all that stuff. But people are like, okay, but why is she talking about this? And I really started talking about it just because I'm like, I got to rip off the Band-Aid. These are things I want to talk about online. And so, I just started talking about it. And then I'm like, I'm sharing my story, but like, how can I take this further? How can I really truly help people? Because me just talking about what is going on is not necessarily, the kind of help that is helpful. People might resonate and they're like, oh, I've been through that. I totally get that. And then they move on, but how can I really give somebody or people a process, a literal thing that says, hey, you have an awareness of something in your life that needs to change. All right, follow the True Indigo method. This will help you take it from being aware and all the way to integrating whatever that next thing is. All that being said, July is going to be a month of like intentional creation. I'm going to be on my honeymoon at the end of this month for about a week. And then I also am going to need this next month to have just like a focus space to just record and finalize and make the final edits and building on the True Indigo method. So it's really important to me that I don't rush it, and I just make sure that everything makes sense to everybody and is something that people are truly going to love and utilize and be extremely helpful to them. So I really don't want to split my energy between too many things. If you know me as a projector, that is a bad thing to do as a projector, to try to do too many things and overwork yourself. So I'm listening to my projector energy. And I'm going to take a break from the podcast for about a month. I just feel like I need to give the attention, to the work that I'm working on that it needs, and that it deserves. The podcast will pause for July, and I'm hoping to come back that first week of August. If anything changes, I will update on social media. So I'm not disappearing or going anywhere. The podcast is not ending. This will continue. But this is really more about having like a strategic pause so I can just create intentionally and deliver something that, really meaningful. And sometimes creating something meaningful will require more space. And so, that's something even in my healing journey that I have, learned about myself and I'm trying to respect more, is putting the boundaries on myself, not overworking, not doing too much or trying to do everything all at once, and listening to myself and my body when I need to take those breaks. And so that is, that's my new identity. If you were to meet me 2 years ago, you would have been like, yeah, right, she's not going to pause. She's going to try to do it all. And that's just not me anymore. And so that's another thing that's changing, is just my work. I wouldn't say ethic, because I'm always going to have good work ethic. And I think we've misunderstood what work ethic is. It's not hustling all the time or pushing despite being exhausted or having other things to do. It's truly just listening to yourself and having work-life balance and knowing like when it's time to take a break or focus on something more important. Even though the form of the work, is changing to a certain degree, I'm not necessarily going to be doing facials and all of that stuff. The heart of my work is not. My desire to help people reconnect with themselves is not changing. My belief in whole person support is not changing. My love for holistic wellness is definitely not changing. If anything, that's getting way expanded. I think that's been the most expansion. The connection with the skin and the body is always going to be true to me. My focus on alignment, that's going to continue, and the focus on self-trust and helping others with their self-trust is going to continue. And really the last thing that's not changing is really my desire to just create spaces where people feel seen. Because I think that's what I thought I was doing for myself early on as an esthetician, and slowly started to realize like how much people felt comfortable with me and felt seen and wanted to share and wanted to talk and wanted to, work through things together. So my delivery and everything is changing. You know, the way that I service clients, the way that I help and take care of people is changing, but really my mission is still the same. I'm here to help. I'm here to be a guide. I'm not here to fix you. You are not broken. I really am kind of, I guess, your big sister trying to say, hey, step into that bad bitch energy. Step into what's true to you, what you feel good doing. You know, that's where I'm at now, because ultimately, if I can help you do that, your skin's going to be impacted by that, and you're going to have a better internal balance, and it's going to help balance out your skin as well. So it's all connected. While the podcast is quiet in July, people can still connect with me through my email list. You can go to trueindigoholisticshop.com. All of this I usually always link in the description below all my YouTube videos, but there is a sign up place at the bottom of my website for you to sign up for my newsletter. I'm going to try to get better about emailing and updates and keeping up with people. You can also keep up with me in the sanctuary. I am always adding new tools in the alignment hub. Like I said, there's a free course in there, so you don't have to pay to be in there. As a free member, you also get access to the discussion board. So if there's something that comes up for you one day that you're struggling with, you know, that's a good place to post in there and get some different advice. Not only from me, but even different members within the sanctuary. And really, I'm really trying to build a community there of like-minded people who really are about helping other women, self-trust, really stepping into your inner authority and your power, and just creating a community in a safe space of spirituality and, you know, talking about some unconventional things, but it all relates back to your own personal healing and well-being. You can also follow me on social media. I'm Ronni Resonance pretty much everywhere. And like I said, that's always linked in my Linktree link in the description. You can book an alignment reading with me. If you already know what needs to change, and you need help kind of doing the thing that you want to do, book an integration session. The alignment reading and integration session can be for any part of your life. Okay. It doesn't have to be something that I've gone through to help you. Like I usually am pretty good at helping various parts of life changes and different things like that. So it can be your business, it can be whatever. And that also includes the business and brand alignment support. If you are a business owner, that is something that you may want to start with an alignment reading. We can kind of gauge where you are, and then if we feel like we need to create like a package or something around your like integrating or anything like that, you know, we can do that as well. Or we could just book an integration session and we figure out, okay, now we know, how do we shift into this new thing? I also, like I said, you can still book a holistic skin consultation with me. Those are virtual. Like I said, look at a lot of different things. We're not just looking at your skin. It will ask you to upload a bare-faced photo of yourself with good lighting, so I have an idea. But a lot of things, just based on conversation, I can kind of gauge like, we might want to do some testing here or do this there, and maybe try this product. This could be going on or whatever. So spa consulting conversations is going to be another thing that I'll be working on. Like I said, I'll be consulting, but it's not limited to that. There are other businesses if you need advice, support, anything, as a spa professional, as a spa owner. I'm your girl, been through it, 15 years and technically 12 years as a spa owner out of that time. So I've been through it, and I've been in every type of situation you could be in as a spa owner and an esthetician. So I have a pretty good idea most of the time on what people need, and helping them, you know, find a way to align to that direction that they want to go in. And then also you can always go back and look at any of my existing podcast episodes. Like I said, in the sanctuary, there's resources in there that go along with them and different things like that. The extended podcast is inside the alignment hub inside the sanctuary. So that might be something that you may want to check out, but that does require an upgrade. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else on that. But all that being said, you know, I'm still here. I'm just creating behind the scenes right now. And, as you've seen, my content online looks a lot different. I'm not posting about spa stuff or skin or anything. Doesn't mean that I'm not doing it anymore. I have other things I'm talking about now that I feel like are more important, that to help people heal in that way, that ultimately will impact their skin in a positive way as they heal themselves. So that's truly, I think, why this all ended up tying into this together, because it does go hand in hand. And not everybody, I guess, as an esthetician wants to, they just want to treat the client and be a service provider and whatever. But for me, relationships were a huge thing when it came to my business. And I felt like I was in the business of relationships, as much as we don't want to call aesthetics and spa owning and all of that sales. It technically is. And sales, I think, from a feminine standpoint, is very relationship driven, connection, all of that. And so I think I was not expecting to know that I was maybe good at doing what I'm doing now, or this showed me, hey, you're really good at giving some advice, and you're really good at helping people see maybe differently or different perspectives or whatever. And so that's really what lights me up these days, is helping people through this, these changes, these shifts, these what is true to them, really. So I am very excited to keep building a community of women who are just asking deeper questions, who are exploring who they are to their core, and who are learning to trust themselves. They're navigating identity shifts, their purpose in this life, alignment, what feels aligned for them, their intuition, trusting that, and their own personal growth. The podcast, the sanctuary, the True Indigo method, the readings, the workshops, consultations, these are all connected to that bigger mission that I have. So this is not just about aesthetic services anymore. It's really about building a space for people who are coming home to themselves. And I think I also want to talk about what this transition has taught me, is that, growth does not always look like adding more. Sometimes growth looks like creating more space. Sometimes alignment, means letting something evolve, even if it doesn't look the way that you had envisioned or were trying to manifest. And sometimes you have to stop forcing to stay in this like old version of yourself and your work. You may not know every detail of the next chapter. Trust me, I sure as hell did not. I was like, here's a trust. I had someone, her name is Marston Freese, and she, I don't want to butcher like what she considers herself, but very intuitive, connects with ETs and all kinds of stuff. But she's amazing. And, she's decided to listen to her guides and go on this trust fall journey. And when she said that, I was like, that's it. That's what I've been trying to understand or label what this is. Because to other people, it's like, what the hell? She was doing this and now she's doing this. And it just seems scary, because for everybody else, they're thinking, how is she going to do this? And this is so different. And how is she going to make it work? And the thing that I've had to understand is that this is a trust fall journey of simply trusting myself, what I've learned about myself, the feelings, the intuition, the downloads that I've had when I quiet my mind and I really feel into that, by following truly what that is giving me, is kind of a trust fall journey, because I don't have the next steps laid out. And I think part of the reason why I stayed as a spa owner for so long is because we create this end goal and this thing that we're trying to get to, and we'll do anything to get there. And I started to realize that the greatest thing is to always lean into what feels true to you and the most honest within yourself, and just do that, and not put any sort of end thing that has to happen or expectation on it. You're just following what feels true to you every day. And I'm just allowing it to take me wherever it takes me. So no, I don't have everything figured out. I don't know what 6 months is going to look like from now. You know, when I said it 6 months ago, like it was November or December, I was like, my spa, not my business, my spa is not going to make it another 6 months. And that is true. I made the decision back then to decide to part with my spa because I just knew, but I had no idea, what was going to happen. I realized it had become scarier to stay in the thing that I knew just wasn't working than to just say, you know what, I throw my hands in the air. Like, I just don't care. I'm just kidding. And just, like release the need to force or to prove or to make this happen. Just do what feels good to you every day. And the world, the universe will open up for you. And that's what's been happening for me, is I am surrendering. So this transition has taught me that alignment often requires the courage, trust, and the release of that forcing, the expectation, all of that stuff. It requires that of you. And it's scary. And so it does feel like you have a friend behind you and you're just like, are you going to catch me if I fall? And you just fall and you just trust that the universe is going to catch you and is going to help guide you. But I think that's the biggest thing for me, is when I released the need to do this thing or to prove I can do this or to make this happen simply because I started in the first place, or, it requires courage to lay that down and have that trust to really, allow yourself just to go through what it is you need to go through in this situation. So maybe this is you, that you're also feeling a shift in your life, and like maybe you're seeing that something that once fit no longer really feels the same, that you maybe been doing forever, that you thought you would never feel that way about. Maybe you are in between versions of yourself. You've already kind of started that process of letting something go and stepping into like the next thing. Maybe you are being called into a new season of life, but don't have every detail figured out yet. I think my main message is that you don't have to have your entire path mapped out to honor what you know is changing. I think sometimes it's really the next chapter really starts to like whisper to you. Sometimes alignment is not necessarily about doing more. Sometimes it's about just having the courage to just let something evolve into what it needs to evolve into. So in closing, I am so glad I could get to the end of this without being so emotional in the beginning, but I feel better now of like explaining things a little bit better, and I guess just kind of getting this off my chest, and really I'm really stepping into this place now where it's like, oh, we're no longer trying to figure it out. I've been figuring it out, and now we're stepping into I'm stepping really into being a guide, being the guiding light, and just being the light. I think that's the thing that I want to take away, is that the world is dark. When I think about what it is that I can do to help people, it is being the light and showing the way. I'm somebody who's been through things. I've learned how to work on my nervous system. I've learned how to heal those things, and then how to deal with things as they come my way. And that's the thing that I want to help others with as well, is navigating these shifts in their life. So all that being said, I just want to say thank you to my clients, to the people who are listening and watch my podcast, who take the time to truly get to know who I am, and maybe put their trust in me and what I say. I really appreciate that. My email community, the people who actually open up my emails and read my updates and want to know what's going on with my business and me, and just everybody who has supported True Indigo or my spa or me just in general, like in any version of my business or any version of myself throughout the years. I sometimes felt really lonely through those times, and I think that I've started to really realize that I wasn't alone. There was a lot of people who were supporting me, even if they weren't vocalizing it, or even if I didn't see them or whatever. I know that the support has been there. So I have just like an immense gratitude for the spa chapter and even getting the opportunity to live out a dream. At 18 years old, I was like, I want to be a spa owner one day. And I booth rented for a couple years, went back to working for people, and then 2016, I did it. I ran a business through COVID. I ran a business with a terrible business partnership. I left that business partnership. I rebuilt from the ground up in a whole new city, and did that, and mentored and interned so many estheticians, and just helped so many people, not just esthetician or not just clients, but a lot of estheticians, a lot of people navigating, going through dreaded aesthetic school and jobs and, all kinds of things. Like I just have so much gratitude for that. But aside from all the gratitude and, of a little bit of the grieving that I have done, which I feel like I'm a little getting past, I just have this excitement for this next chapter. I feel like I'm excited that, I can use my energy in a better way. I can give to other people while still being able to pour into myself, which was really hard. Working like a physical job that required physical work, but also required me to show up emotionally for people and to talk to them. And it's hard to juggle it, especially if you are an empath and taking on things and trying to like transmute energy while like somebody's sharing something with you that's really important and you're trying to like do their lash extensions or something. And it's just hard to be supportive in both ways for me. And I felt like, okay, I think that this new thing I'm stepping into is really where I am at in my life now. I turn 33 June 30th, literally next week. I think after my solar return, I am going to really be more so fully integrated into this new identity. And I think this video is kind of like the catalyst to stepping into that, is like the threshold that I'm crossing, to kind of like, say my piece of the spa and share my feelings on that and share that I'm excited for the next thing. So I just want to remind you guys, this podcast will return in August. I really invite you guys to stay connected while I build this behind the scenes. Like I said, you can join the sanctuary. That's the best place to connect with me. I post my story on Instagram a lot about just my personal life, or different random thoughts that come up. So that's always a great place to kind of, if you want to hear from me, or DM me or whatever. I'm more than happy to help any way that I can all the time. But I feel like that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I don't think there's anything else. So thank you guys for being here through every version of me, of True Indigo, my business, everything. Thank you for allowing this work to evolve and expand into where we are now. I'm just so grateful for the chapter that's closing, and I'm really excited for what's coming next. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in August.